Now, you guys know that obviously Jen and I were in DC this past week. It was what you would call hit or miss. There were certain, obviously, good points, such as our esteemed guest that is going to be coming on in 10 minutes. And then obviously you have the points about what type of value really comes from knocking on the doors of Congressman McCall, who's the chair of the Armed Services Committee and represents a very Christian Zionist district. Not a lot of value there and not really going to get anywhere. However, if there was a person on the Hill that I had the privilege of meeting that truly embodies what a public servant is supposed to be, it's Thomas Massie. And you would think that anybody, and I do mean anybody, who is following politics, regardless of where you stand politically, would say Thomas Massie's a decent guy. Yes. This is somebody who is fighting on the front lines, literally the front lines, and give credit where credit's due to Ro Khanna. He's doing it with him when it comes to the Epstein files. And they are the only two who are truly out there. Now, I do believe the difference between Massie and Khanna is that I think Khanna has presidential aspirations, but at least he is willing to take that chance. He's willing to put himself out there and say, we got to get these files out there. This matters. Like, it's a big deal. So you would think that in the case of Ed Gallerine, the person that the Donald endorsed, who thinks he's a really great candidate.
Right, you're totally shuffling this to the. We were going to do this later. You want to just cover it now?
Yeah, we should definitely cover it now because it's a great transition.
All right.
So, Colin, could you please pull up the information that I sent you? It turns out that while Ed Gallerine has been getting an ungodly amount of money from the Israel lobby, and we already knew about that, and we already know that Trump has endorsed him, and we already know that he's getting a boatload of money out there as well. What a lot of you may not know, and this is something that I discovered the other day, it turns out that Ed Gallerine has been getting fundraised behind the scenes by the Democratic Party establishment. They're funding him.
Oh, so the Democratic Party is funding Thomas Massie's primary competitor.
Yeah.
And why would they feel the need to do that?
I'm not entirely sure, but I also know, which I think we can all agree, is that the Democrats sell empire better than Republicans do.
Yes.
The reason they want Thomas Massie out is one reason and one reason only. He is getting in the way of the Israel lobby on Capitol Hill. And when you do that, all bets are off and everybody's head is on a swivel. And that includes the Democrats working behind the scenes to make sure he gets out. So for anybody who has this idea that you can save this country through the Democratic Party, please see yourself out the back door. Please. The truth about Ed Gallerine's campaign money. Did you know that Ed Gallerine is processing his campaign cash through Democracy Engine? A far left, as they like to put it.
Okay, but yes, let's say that with a grain of salt. What these people consider far left is probably center.
Just call it what it is, a neoliberal financial platform built by the former CEO of Act Blue.
And that's where his money is going through.
Correct.
Okay, so what that says is they also recognize, this is how the Democrats, because at the end of the day, oligarchy and the elitists, if their work through the Dems, if they don't care if it's a Democrat, they just can't have it be like an actual like grassroots or social democracy person. They can't have that. So they would much rather, they know they're not having a Democrat in that seat. They know that. So they'd much rather have somebody that can be bought off by AIPAC or whatever lobby. So, yeah.
I dug into the official FEC records, and the numbers are absolutely staggering. Gallerine isn't being funded by grassroots Kentuckians. He is a Trojan horse for the Democratic machine. A recent Daily Caller analysis just exposed that 85% of the donors who gave the maximum amount to Gallerine's campaign have previously donated to Democrats.
That's extraordinarily high. Like, that's for people who don't know that, like, when you're fundraising, you generally are fundraising within your party. And yes, sometimes you get support from other part, you do, but 85% is, that's crazy. He's a Democrat candidate.
Over 110 of them are high dollar Democrat mega donors. And again, this is more than any other reason. And this is why Jared Moskowitz is a scumbag, Cory Booker's a scumbag, because what you have to remember is that when push comes to shove, especially at the federal level, the only thing that matters to the Democratic Party is money and power. Nothing more, nothing less. And they don't care how they get it. They don't care whether there were quid pro quo promises that have been made behind the scenes. Because remember, Thomas Massie is not a corporate funded candidate. Ed Galreen is. He's part of the club. This is the whole point about if Abdul El Sayed ends up winning the Democratic primary in Michigan, that the Democratic establishment will work.
Correct.
Gretchen Whitmer, she wants to run for president. Dana Nessel wants to be the governor, the next governor of the state of Michigan. You better believe that they're going to do whatever the hell that establishment tells them to do. If that means they got to take out both kneecaps of Abdul El Sayed, that's what they're going to do. And that's why they're doing this now to Thomas Massie.
They'll do what, right. They'll do exactly what they're doing here.
To process all this left-wing money, his FEC reports show he paid over $54,000 in transaction fees. Holy God in heaven. That's a lot of money. Oh my God.
So, okay. So he paid $54,000 of his donation money to launder the money.
Yeah.
So that we wouldn't know what we now know.
Mm-hmm.
So not only is he corrupt, he's stupid.
Stupid. What do you think? This wasn't good. That really goes to show you that but this is the thing, like you said, about what the whole Trump era of this moment represents, which is the rule of law is dead. Like no one.
No, we have no laws. There are no laws. We are rogue.
Based on standard rates, he routed well over 1 million through them in a single quarter.
Oh my God. In a single quarter. So that, wow. So that's the majority of his money is what we're talking about.
Well, he also has the super PACs running through, Miriam Adelson and a handful of these other mega giants. But that's the thing. They want Massie out.
Oh my God, this is so pitiful.
Here is what Democracy Engine actually is. It is the financial backbone of it's the financial backbone of the Democratic establishment. Get it right.
Stop calling it the left.
Act Blue and DNC Ties, founded by Jonathan Zucker, the former CEO of Act Blue and former finance director for the DNC. Yes. Plagued into the Democratic voter file. Democracy Engine is directly integrated with NGP Van. Oh, and now it totally makes sense.
There it is.
So when people that want to knock on doors for Massie, they're going to find that a lot of that information, even through Vote Red, is not going to be the correct information in many instances.
Nope.
For Ed Galreen, it will always be correct. The official voter database of the Democratic Party. Galreen's finances are literally wired into that tech stack. Hillary and Biden connections. Their C10 ran digital fundraising for Hillary Clinton in 2020. Democracy Engine's corporate PAC routed over $13 million to Joe Biden's victory funds. And 99.96% Democrat open secret data proves that of those contributions tracked through this platform go to Democrats and left-wing groups. Anti-Second Amendment. Here's the ultimate betrayal for Kentucky. The platform publicly refuses to work with pro-gun groups like the NRA. The NRA sucks, so you can both shove it on that one. Thomas Massie uses conservative platforms like Anodot to process $50 donations from working-class Kentuckians. He is the biggest defender of the Second Amendment in Congress. That is probably true. Ed Galreen is using a Democrat financial platform built by Hillary Clinton operatives to launch. Don't you understand? There are no two parties. There is a uniparty, and that's it. And if you're part of the club, they all go and have a nice laugh. That's why you have Mary Matlin and James Carville that are married to each other. And they represent the political system in so many respects. And so that's essentially what's happened here. And so if you
that's a really good way to really demonstrate people how the Democrats are they're Mick resistance. There's no
1,000%.
there. They're literally just controlled opposition. There's no point. They all
And if
funnel,
you,
the money all leads to the same oligarchs.
and Colin, if you can blow this up just so that we could see all of these fundraising numbers, this is staggering what this group has given him in addition to running the money through the system. 10,000 here, 7,000 there, and on and on and on this shit goes.
Oh my God.
That's why I told Massie when I met him, I said, listen, if there's anything we could do to help your campaign, we will help you. Not because we agree with you across the board politically, we don't. We know he's not compromised. We know he's a decent guy. And in the end, the two parties will always protect the establishment against any insurgency, anytime, anywhere. Stop falling for it. Get the hell off the hamster wheel.
Yeah.
That's it.